Hello friends, my name is Balram Prasad and I'm working with Microsoft as a senior software engineer, USA. And I was thinking today to discuss about software development life cycle. So when we develop any solution or any product, how we manage that, all the tasks, what we are going to deliver, requirement, all these things, and which tool we use generally for that one. I will talk to later on that one, and maybe we can see how we manage that tool. So that is what I was thinking. Please watch till the end. It will be helpful for you. Let's see, and please give any comment if you have. So generally, when we manage the software or we develop the software, there are few uh, patterns happens, few things happens that we have to gather the analysis first. Then we have to think about how the UI and UX will look like. Then how we are going to implement that one. In the implementation phase is one of the big phase where we decide which technology we are going to use in other things. Then the testing part comes, that how we are going to test on that one, test the application. There are different kind of testing we do: load testing, unit testing, security testing, lot of testing we do. And then deployment, how we are going to deployment. In the deployment part, you have heard about now CI/CD comes into the place. And then the maintenance, how we are going to maintenance the software. And in the DevOps world, generally we only maintain the software and support the software also. So how we are going to work on this one, and how we generally work on that one, that is what today I'm thinking to discuss. So, as I told you that this is SDLC's software development life cycle, and it is the conceptual method model to used in the project management that describe the stages or processes involved in the information system development project. Right, when we develop the project, so that is what it is. And there are different models altogether. If you see, starting when I started working, a kind of typical was waterfall model we were following. I guess 12 years back or 13 years back, when I was working with a company over there. So requirement was coming first, and then design was happening. A lot of bigger documents we were used to create. Either somebody used to call SRS or FRS, functional requirements specification, or software requirement specification. Then use testing document used to create and maintenance, and that documentation around that, how this is going to be used and what are that. So there was a too much documentation happens and happening that time point of time. And apart from waterfall, there are a few method also, models was also there, like prototyping, spiral. So that a kind of different thing. Then agile came into the picture, that how agile is solving some of the problem which this model was having. So I what I learned from my experience, that agile helps to deliver the software in very fast to whatever intended consumer is there, customer is there, and they take the feedback and regularly apply the feedback and deliver to consumer. And I am talking especially specific about agile scrum, which process we follow. We start with development, deliver each sprint something into production, and then take the feedback, take the new user story, take the new requirement to work and deliver, so that a usable software they can use. Some feature might be working, and some feature might be in still development. That is what we do right now in most of the scenario. So but if you see, and this thank you for this beautiful graphs and other things I have taken from Google. So whoever has made, I want to thank them also. So if you see that this most of the times people are nowadays is using Agile. And in Agile, some of the variation is Agile. Scrum is also being used, the Scrum, and then Waterfall and others, right? So mostly I'm going to talk about Agile Scrum right now. So in waterfall model, as we have seen in previous also, that you have to discovery phase was there, when somebody from your business analysis team, so somebody goes and sits with client and build that whatever requirement they have, SRS or FRS will be created and the design will happen. Then coding will start, right? And then after once all the coding is done, the testing will start. Then after testing, deployment and maintenance. So if you see, it was taking a huge time from requirement gathering to delivering the software to consumer, and consumer or client has to wait. And what was happening that one, that when deployment is happening, then that time maybe see after it took all the process 6 months or 8 months or year. Till that time some might requirement might change based on the scenario, or maybe when the requirement was given, different person has given requirement and he was not aware of the system or something changed. So that problem was still there. And then we followed a lot of problem over there. So if you see in the agile world, this problem try to solve by agile principle, that you deliver a small part of application each sprint, or maybe you can decide when you are going into production with some MVP on some feature which is complete. That totally you can define and you can work on that one. But the concept is that instead of delivering a whole software, deliver in that small chunk of features, so that consumer can see that one, consumer can give the feedback, and consumer can use that one, and then you can take that feedback, enhance that application, build some new feature and deliver once again. So this rotation on this loop starts happening, and that is how right nowadays we deliver or will build the software. In the typical agile or scrum world, and what we also used to follow, that in we decide that how much time for one sprint. It can be 1 week, it can be 4 week, it can be 2 weeks, depending upon your team. You decide that, hey, I want to go into the 2 week sprint period. So generally what we used to work as 2 week sprint period, and some sprint is 3 week to align that whole year. So that that kind of scenario is there. And then on when sprint starts, before that sprint also, somebody from our team plays the role of the scrum master. And it in some of the teams or some of the companies, scrum master is generally a dedicated role. But for us, we play the scrum master role. So sometime I can play, sometime my colleague can play, and we rotate that scrum master role as a developer only. So developer is also playing the scrum master role from the team, and we sit with our product owners, and then we talk about which user story, and we are going to pick, and which story has full acceptance criteria, or all the grooming is happened for that one. And that typically once before the sprint, the scrum master sits with the product owner and discuss, and that goes into product backlog. And then on that either or Friday before the sprint starts, or either Monday, we have a sprint planning meetings, that okay, which feature or which task or which user story we are going to pick into that this sprint. And then we assign and people from different team choose that which user story they are going to work on that one. And there are a lot of method how that user story assignment will happen, and how that what time it is going to take that user story. So we all follow different approach for that one. And then once we break out the task, and then we start working on that one, and daily we sync up with our scrum meeting with all the people. And generally we follow three things, that hey, what we did yesterday, how what I am going to do today, and any blocker is there or not, and if any need help or there or not. This kind of discussion happens in the scrum meeting. And then after a sprint, once sprint is coming, something we have some user story we have completed, and that might be, if we decided that we will deliver daily wise or weekly wise or sprint wise, that will go into production. It might be possible that in between, if user story is complete, mark and tested properly, it can go to production. So that is how. And then once sprint happens, in that before that is the sprint ending, we review that sprint, that how we have done in that sprint, right? So that is what we do. We go ahead and see that user story, all the user story and task, and see that have you we completed all these things or not. And then also we have the sprint retrospective happens, that and that can be also anonymous. So somebody, if they don't want to share their identity and they want to be anonymous, then they can share that feedback also, that hey, something was not bad, something was not good, or something was good, we should continue on that one. That kind of things happens on that generally a sprint retrospective, right? So this is the typical workflow we follow in our development also. And based on these things, there are burned down chart concept and other things that you can take and look into that one. So that is how this is sprint, and that is how we follow that is sprint and our project management. So let's see some of the tools used by different teams on the agile world and how they use that one tools. Generally, if you go open source, I have a lot of friends who use Jira, and I was there in some of the company where Jira was used for that managing of this all this planning. So if you see that user screen on that one, there will be board where you can have that what you are going to do and what is in the progress. You can plan, track, right, when the release is happening, a lot of things. So everything you can manage with that one. What different things are happening. So this is one of the tool, and this is one of the number one tools used by different agile teams. So the another tools which we used and came from Microsoft is Azure DevOps tool. So Azure DevOps is a similar tool where you have board where you will manage your user story, task, and other thing. Then you have lot of different tools around DevOps tools. Like you can have CI/CD pipeline for deployment. You have repos where you will check in your code. You have test planning. You are going to write some test cases and plan that one. You have Azure artifacts where your output of your build and release will be stored. So that artifacts you will manage, and there are a lot of other tools over present over there to do your task, right? So in generally that is how we used to do, and we right now we are also doing. So I will go in more details on this tool because I am working right now. But before that one, if you see that one, that if you have a project and you are working, how that bigger features or bigger what how we can break down, right? You cannot take all the feature in the one sprint or 2 weeks. So right now, if you think that this is screen that all the bigger goal or what we are going to build, that is called a kind of epic, that what software is we are going to build, and then it is broken down in feature, that what feature it will contain, right? And then feature will be broken down in user story, and then user story will be assigned to someone, and then that user task will be created by us, that hey, this is the task we are going to perform for this user story. Might be we are going to write some backend code, we are going to do some UI work. So that kind of task we will break down that one. And also, if you see when we go and build that test plan and other things, so there will be test plan, there will be test suite, and we will write some regression test scenarios or some test cases over there, and we will see that what kind of shared test steps are there for all the test cases or shared parameter, and we will run that one. So and this is what we have right now, and we use that one. And every user story has to a description should be present, what the acceptance criteria should be present. All these things will help, because we will not pick a user story which does not have acceptance criteria, right? What we are going to deliver, and if there is nothing written, it can be ambiguous. We cannot close that user story. So that is what right now it is. And then as I talk about, there are different waterfall, what is the difference between different model that you can go, but right now mostly used in agile world is Scrum. So that is what we can see that is there, and you can go ahead with these tools, this diagrams, and you can read on various things over there. And I am also trying to get some friends who are project managers or product owners to share their viewpoint from these tools and these processes, because that might be a good experience. So please connect with us to get the more details about all the aspects of software development, not only related to one particular company, one particular technology. We will build a lot of videos for that one. So this is the some of them. You can go to this with this. They have built the Jira, and they have good documentation over there. Also, you can go to Microsoft site for finding the documentation and different things over there. As I talked about that, uh, either initiative we call that what we are going to build and how that epic is broken, then feature it will be broken. So that you can see that one different company use the different label. But yeah, this is. So I have something over here that it says that okay, some sample feature, some sample epic and sample user story and criteria that is over there. And let me open, try to, and then as I told that. When requirement is complete, we have to say the definition of ready or definition of done. That how we are going to say that this user story is complete and this feature is complete, or this epic is complete. There are definition of done and acceptance criteria will be there. After acceptance criteria, your unit test should be running perfectly fine with 70-80% of coverage what you have, or your team had decided. Integration testing should be good enough. All the codes is merged, peer review, code review, all these things should be happening. Then only definition of done is comes into picture. The end definition of done, it can be decided by teams or teams basis, so that we can all work on that one and decide on that one. So the Scrum training also happens, and when you go for training, this all things you will learn in details. But it just in nutshell, I was going into very fast that this is how it happens generally. But when you go in proper training for that one, how that epic should be there, how the features should be there, how you can break up the user story, what should be the acceptance criteria, what should be the task, all these things if you see in details, that there will be, you will learn a lot of good things over there also. And generally if you see what the user story is there, what should it contain, right? It should be which following type. As a user, I want to do this one. I as a, like as a online shopper, I want to add an item to my cart or something I purchased. That scenario, right? And that user story should be there. That who part, that who is the user, what part, and why part, right? And then if you see some of the example of user story, it can be as internet banking customer, I want to a rolling balance of everyday account, or I know the balance of my account after each transaction is applied, right? So that as administrator, I want to create other administrator, that is user creation part, right? So if we go and we try to see that one into our site, so this is Azure DevOps my account. If you go, so let me go from here to create this one. If we create the epic, what could be an epic? Epic can be that I uh, create a website, right? Totally web application, web portal, right? Not site, web portal. And this will be details over there, that which kind of portal for for managing employees, or portal for managing, yeah, employees kind of thing. So let's see. And there will be discussion over there, so you can have that one. Now if you see that one in your backlog, if you see that this team backlog, there will be board, okay, let's see, work item should be there. So this is the work item right now in backlog. I can see that work stuff. Now I can go and I can try to create the related items, like I can create a new item, which will be that one generally in under the feature epic. We create the feature and we say that okay, let's say login model, or manage employee leave. That can be a feature, right? That can be one feature where we are going to manage that employee leave. So link type, okay, I mistype that one. This will be a child of work at item. This is that one. The child is that, okay. Let's see. So this we are going to manage. This will be acceptance. We can put discussion over there, or whatever details is there. Then under that feature, if we go in under the feature, we can create that multiple user story, that what we are going to do for this employee leave apply form, right? It can be like that one, that I have to create one employee leave where the employee can go and apply the leave, right? So this will be not a feature, sorry. Let's discard this one, and this one, create a web portal. No. So right now, manage employee, I want to create a new item, and that will be child, and that will be user type, user story. And as you told that as a user, we can put that one. I am just implementing as a user. Here you have user, as a user, I want to have a place where I can go and apply it, right? So that one thing was happens here. You can have details of acceptance criteria depending upon the rules, what should be in that part of that one acceptance criteria. You can see that one. There will be user story checklist where you have to keep the short, keep the simple, write the perspective of users. This all thing details will come into your user story, and acceptance criteria show MVP, right? So there will be good amount of time, and then the developer will pick into the sprint which we talked, and a sprint meeting, and then they will work, create the task, and they will do that one. If you see, writing acceptance criteria has a huge impact over there, which kind of, so what team should build before they start work, right? And then ensure everyone has a common understanding of that problem, what they are going to build. It should not be that I think that I will build this one, my project manager thinks or product owner thinks that this should be built by this user story. That is how we develop. And then the acceptance criteria is the main helper over where we write automated test cases, unit test cases, another thing. We see that thing, and we generally try to write unit test cases over there. So there are good examples that you can learn about that one if you want to go in that direction. But generally, we pick the user story as a development, and we pick create the task, and then we work on that one. And this is how we manage as a the requirement, what we are going to build, and what we are going to work today or tomorrow, this sprint and next sprint, and how much sprint it is going to take for that delivering that feature or that epic. That is how we manage with this one. So if you go and see this one, I created one user story. So user story estimation happens on generally on point basis, that it is a sizing that this user story is going to take a big amount of time or a small amount of time. This is not a hourly or something like that basis. So it's, you can say that three means medium kind of thing, that it is medium kind of complex work, right? Then you can say that one, that's the story point, and then you can go, and then after that one, once you pick that one, you can create the task, right? That you can create the task that, hey, I want to do something over there, UI design, maybe some UI design you are going to do as a part of that user story. Then in task, you can say that how much in hours, effort in hours you have to put, that hey, my estimate is this one. And once you pick and start working on that task, you have to update, keep updating that how much you completed, how much remaining is there. And generally we try to break down as a task as a 6 hour or 8 hour, not more than that one, because in one user story you cannot have one task. So that is how we should do that. You should break it properly. So this is the, you say that you can put like 6, and based on all this, if you do all these things, will be populated into your backlog, right? Your backlog will have all this user story, and if you see that one, you can add, and you can see that you have task. If you go to board, you can see this board will come here. You can move, and then say that if you move to active, that will be become active, that I'm working on that one. And then work item, you can see all the work item started coming. And then sprint, if you go, and you can see that him, what a sprint item have, you can have the capacity over here, who is going to work from your team, and then how you are picking on that one, what is the sprint time and what date is there. You can have a new sprint over there, when it is starting, when it is going to end. So this whole things you can manage, that your agile scrum process and requirement getting to requirement delivery, till that you can work, and rest all are that repo pipelines, test plan. I will make separate video. This was a kind of introduction for this one. So thank you very much. I hope that helps. And this is a big topic, so it is just I'm giving a developer perspective to find out what is happening, not from perspective from project manager or product owner, or how it should be proper, like acceptance criteria and other things. But it is generally that which kind of tool we do and what we do as a part of development. Thank you very much.